Testimony continued today in the most notorious criminal trial in Richland County. Dr. John Boyle is accused of killing his wife Maureen and burying her body.
The 12-year-old son finally took the stand.
Boyle confidently told the jury it was his decision to testify against his father.
I heard a scream. I heard a thud. It was about this loud.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
I decided at an early age that our trauma should not be what defines us. It's what we choose to do with it that does. I'm here to share my unique perspective on true crime, mental health, society, and popular culture, and always with a slight sense of humor. I'm Collier Landry, and welcome to my show. Mover Nation, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Happy Wednesday, everybody. What's happening? I'm pleased to welcome Katie Koulady back to the program, still in Tallahassee, still waiting for Godot, waiting for Donna. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm not gonna lie, it's been tough. It's been a tough last couple of days. I'm going through a lot of emotional stuff, and I was reminded, I was watching the film Jerry Maguire the other day. There's a lot of really great lessons in Jerry Maguire, but I remember the guy Dickie, who is his mentor. In the end, he talks about how he loves his life, he loves his wife, and my friend had ended her book with that quote, and she'd ended her book with that quote that she shared with me as we watched the film. There's another part of that stuck in my mind, which is in the middle of the movie when he's going through it with Renee Zellweger, and he says, if this isn't right here, meaning his heart, this ain't worth anything. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm not going to lie. I'm having a Jerry Maguire moment. I don't know why. It's one of those moments. I'm having a Jerry Maguire moment. There you have it. Anyways, I am pleased to welcome, and by the way, Mover Nation, wherever you may be, however you may be listening or watching, thank you for making me a part of your day. Thank you for making us a part of your day. The community, shout out to the mods, etc. Everybody, I just got out of the shower. I got done working out. I'm a little sweaty. I apologize. But thank you guys for being here so much. So my guest today is Katie Koulady. We had her on the other day. She has the inside scoop on the Adelson trial. The Donna Adelson, Donna's delay is what we call it. And she's got some very specific opinions on Daniel Rauschbaum, Donna's attorney. I see her laughing off screen. I'm going to bring her up. Katie Koulady, how are you?
I'm good. But first, I'm giving you a big Katie Koulady hug. I know what that feels like, those rough days.
It's one of those rough, it's been a rough, you know what? I'll get through it. I always do, right? But
you do. And you're showing up even in the middle of it. And
I'm sure, I had COVID a couple weeks ago. Now I got this stuff, and it's, people come into your life and it's interesting. And then they come in and it's a whirlwind, and then they leave just as quickly. And you're like, wow, or they appear to be. We'll see. It's still all in limbo, but I'm not feeling very good about it, to be honest. So there you go. Anyways,
I get it.
Anyways, well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Where'd you go?
I went there to wipe my face off.
Oh, I'm like, I'm
switcheroo. Let me just do a little whoop, 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 whoop. I want to say, because I rushed out of the shower to get on here. I was like, it's 3:00. But I wanted to say, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you messaged me earlier, and thank you so much to having your people. So many people reached out to download the movie, to watch the movie, and I've been answering their emails, and they're like, how do I watch it? I'm like, I just sent you the email.
Okay, so now we know you send them a link, and that's how they watch it.
I send them a link. It'll take a second because I have to see it first. Unfortunately, with Shopify, they don't let you automate emails. It's probably at a different pay tier that I just can't afford, but I'm sure they do at some point, but not for like digital downloads that are links. It's only for digital downloads. So it's kind of a weird thing that it automates it. But anyways, welcome to all the people on your channel, which seem to maybe outnumber mine. And thank you so much to everybody that's here. All right. So catch it. What happened? What happened yesterday?
I just want to put a punctuation on what we were just talking about, because what Collier is referencing is that I bought his movie like a long time ago, and I watched it a few times, but I just felt like I'm down in Tallahassee now with a lot of free time. And I thought I'm going to watch Collier's movie again. Like I was going to do that today. And then I mentioned that in my live and all these people were saying, I want to watch it. I want to watch it. So then we decided we're going to all watch it, like not together, obviously, but everybody's going to watch it. Then I'm going to do a program where we all come together and talk about it. And Collier has agreed to come on that program with us so that he can be available to us to process his film. So that's what that project is. And stay tuned because I will, when we get a date nailed down, we'll give you time to buy it and watch it. And then it'll be during this 2 weeks that I'm in Tallahassee, which gives me a project, which I need right now. So that's what that is. Anyway,
that's fabulous, and I really appreciate that. I also occasionally do live watch parties where I screen the film with people online, and it's a really cool thing. Sometimes we do it through Discord, sometimes we do it right here through Streamyard. It just depends. But
oh, cool.
It's been good. I'm gonna lower myself. I'm gonna stoop to your level. Get on your island.
I would sign up for that. So if you have that going on, I want to get in on that.
Absolutely.
I didn't get to watch it today because my phone's been ringing off the hook. So I didn't, but I still can later tonight.
And your phone has been ringing off the hook because you have the inside track on what just happened.
Well, I'm going to rename it from what you just said as Waiting for Donna.
Waiting for Donna. I love it.
That's right.
I love it.
So yeah, I'm still here. I prepaid for this Airbnb for 13 days, so I'm going to stay here. So anyway, yeah, we're still feeling the ripple effects from the bomb that dropped yesterday.
Okay, so I watched some of your live videos or your shorts, quick videos that you were doing. Okay, and clearly you are not a fan of Daniel Rashbaum.
No.
What happened?
To make me not a fan, or what happened yesterday?
What happened? Okay, so not a fan, first of all, and what happened yesterday?
Well, I attended Charlie's trial and I was pretty neutral about him. I still have my notes. These are my notes I took in the courtroom in Charlie's trial. So I can still reflect back to literally what I was observing then, which I did today. And I felt sorry for him because I felt like he's out of his league. He's not comfortable in this setting. He's sort of insecure and it shows, and felt like an underdog, and I felt sorry for him through much of it. And he's got a losing case and he's sort of annoying, but it wasn't how I am now, because then he lost the case and things started getting clearer for me. And a couple things happened. The jail calls came out between Donna and Charlie after he was convicted, which was revealing more about Rashbaum's bizarre behavior behind the scenes, and also Donna's hot mic call. Do you know about the hot mic call? That really was part of what got her arrested.
So, and then there's the bump guy and all this stuff. So why don't you give me a little we talked about it the other day, but why don't you give my audience a little bit more of a background?
Well, the bump guy who I had dinner with last night, undercover FBI agent, which was fascinating. You would have loved to have been there. All of you would have. It was utterly fascinating, but not just me, but a group of us. But oh my God, it was like I was like dropped into an episode of Ozark. It was amazing. But anyway,
that sounds cool. I'm into that.
Yeah, you really would have loved it. That's just a piece of this case that happened before any of the arrests, and there were no arrests made, and they were gathering evidence. And so they did a sting on Donna, and they kicked, remember I talked about last time that train, the train cars, they set up.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So they kicked that into the train, which was Donna. Then they watched the information flow with the bump guy, with the undercover agent who approached her on the street. And then they watched the information flow from Donna to Charlie, to Katie, to Sigfredo, then back through the train, which confirmed exactly what they thought. That's the conspiracy, the train. And so now they had that evidence, so it's a big piece of evidence that's gotten them all convicted, is the bump and the subsequent train of communication. So
never underestimate the predictability of stupidity, as I always say.
You're not wrong.
Never underestimate the predictability of stupidity. Jared Ross is here. What's up, Jared Ross?
Hi, Jared. We're having a meet and greet in Tallahassee, by the way, Jared, and I need to get that to you on Sunday night. Oh, yeah, that would have been great for you to have been there, Jared. You were missed. We had an empty seat for you.
Thank you so much. Ideal Delight, by the way. Ideal Delight. Love your voice, Katie Cook lady. Love her. And she loves the hair. We got the good hair going on, right?
Yeah, you got the good hair, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a little messed up. It's a little post-shower hair. Anyways, okay. So why don't you take us through the details of how things unfolded yesterday?
I'm just going to do the best. I have my notes literally because it's very confusing. So the dominoes started falling. I mean, the days are just running together. Day before yesterday, I guess. First day we went to court. Was it? No, it was Monday because I went over there to scope out the scene of the courthouse because I decided I just wanted to get the feel, get my perch where I was going to do my lives, my plan doing 2 lives a day. I just wanted to, I'm on media now and find out what that's all about and whatnot. So, I mean, this courthouse, you wouldn't believe it. It's so chill. The people are super friendly. And anyway, so I peeked in and I saw the prosecution there having a meeting and working and, getting all systems go. And then I ended up through all kinds of channels, whatever. I ended up in Tim Jansen's office. Do you know who that is? He's been on STS a lot, and he's local attorney who's been heavily covering this case.
Absolutely.
And one of my subscribers sent me lunch to his office. I was Collier. I was literally sitting on the memorial bench for Dan Markel in a park. And he called me because it was my sister's 66th birthday. Oh, and right. I usually make this chicken cacciatore on her birthday, her recipe, and I put it out there and a whole bunch of my subscribers made her recipe. And then one of my subscribers, Mia Wallace, who's probably in the chat, ordered me the chicken cacciatore for my lunch because I said, I'm just going to find it at a restaurant. So Tim is calling me. He's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm sitting on Dan Markel's memorial bench right now. And he says, you want to come over and have lunch with me? Oh. And somebody's sending you lunch to my office. I'm like, sure. So I went over there, had the lunch, and then these dominoes started dropping with these documents started coming in. And his associate was there, another lawyer. She's been heavily covering this as well. I mean, following, I should say. So the two of them start breaking down this complicated legal situation involving Charlie's appellate lawyer, conflict of interest between Dan Rashbaum, who represented Charlie and is now representing Donna, and that was always sticky. But then Charlie's appeal is coming in with his lawyer, and just all these moving parts. And I don't know what's going on. I realized today why I had this terrible neck ache yesterday, because I was sitting there going like this between these two lawyers, like, what are they talking about? So it just turned into this massive rat's nest of complication. We show up in court the next day, and which was yesterday, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it starts right out with this conflict. And big part of the conflict is, can the show go on? Can this trial even continue? Because Charlie, who's incarcerated, had waived the conflict and given permission for his attorney, his former attorney, to represent his mother. Mm-hmm. And suddenly he's rescinding that,
So he was rescinding Daniel Rashbaum's attorney services for his mother. He allowed that to happen.
Well, at first, I'm talking like a layperson trying to understand this complicated legal stuff, and it's very complex. To me, it is. Yeah. It started out with him saying that he was not going to give permission for Dan Rashbaum to cross-examine him. That was the first missile, I think, was about the cross-examination. And so that threw this whole complication into it. And Judge Everett has been saying all along, this is a massive conflict of interest. You represented her son, and they're co-conspirators. It's not just son and daughter. They are co-conspirators in the same crime. So, it affects what defense she can have, based on him protecting his prior client. So it's a massive conflict of interest. The judge has been addressing it all along, asking her to weigh in continually. You understand this? Yes. Do you waive the conflict? Getting Charlie to weigh and give and all that. And then all of a sudden the whole thing starts blowing up. And everybody's like, what is motivating this? I just keep asking, what is the root of this? Because it's been known for like 6 months. Charlie's on the witness list. They paid all this money to move him from, I can't remember if he's in North or South Dakota, but one of the Dakotas. I don't know, I keep getting it mixed up. So why now, the day of the trial, the day of jury selection? why is this blowing up now when this has been a known thing? And I literally, this is just my opinion of like piecing things together. I started asking, is Dan Rashbaum trying to blow up this trial so he can get off the case? And I now see Jared Ross probably has a different opinion on this because he's a lawyer and knows a lot more than I do. I'm just speaking as a layperson. My impression, based also on my observations of Dan Rashbaum in person in the courthouse and in the courtroom, is that he was trying to blow this case up so he could get off it and not resign on his own, but create such a mess that he would have no option but to either get kicked off or resign. That was, I was throwing out as an option. And another option was they were just trying to get Charlie to be unable to testify. Like they were using all these machinations to get Charlie off the witness list. And it might've been some of both. I don't know. I really don't. Jared, what do you think? I don't know, but.
So I know you were really upset by that posturing because you said something to the effect of, I believe that he was in an elevator and said in front of a trial watcher or someone that he was looking to get off the case, but he just didn't kind of want to be man about it, or what was your sort of take on that?
Well, yeah, and that is such secondhand information. And literally, I just talked to Ruth Markel, who said I probably shouldn't be talking about that because she's concerned about liability. Because I did hear that secondhand, but a trial watcher did approach me, did say that she came up the elevator with Dan Rashbaum, who said something to her that she wanted to repeat to me. But Ruth was like, I don't think you should be saying that publicly until you get that exactly nailed down, because she's worried about Dan Rashbaum being litigious. She is. And so she literally like in the last hour just said, probably shouldn't be talking too much.
So we did not la 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 la.
Yeah. She's protective of me. Ruth is being protective. And she goes, I'm a little older than you.
Look, yeah. She has a lot of experience. She has dealt with these people for a very long time.
Yeah. And she said, don't underestimate the manipulation and stuff. But I can tell you what I witnessed, Collier, that was bizarre with my own eyes of Dan Rashbaum. So we're in court in the morning and there's this hearing that's discussing this. That's all this legalese and like, what are all these factors of all this? It was moving fast and furious. Both sides are weighing in on it. And finally, the judge sort of distills it down to, Donna, have you talked to a third party conflict-free attorney who has given you advice on this? Because you are in the middle of all this conflict, with your attorney. And now this second one he brought on, who's now sort of tainted by the conflict too. If you talk to somebody totally uninvolved, she said, no. And he says, would you like to? And of course, she confers with them, like, would I like to? And they say, so she says, yeah, like she doesn't know. Yeah. So then they take a break for like 45 minutes or an hour or something like that for her to have this meeting with this conflict-free attorney, local guy. Then they come back. So now we're all back in the courtroom again. And then now they're weighing in on that. With the conflict-free attorney is saying she wants to keep her attorney, Dan Rashbaum. She wants to continue with the trial. And I don't remember, somebody else probably remembers the third thing. And the state was saying the same thing. They want to continue with the trial. And, they don't. And Judge Everett is saying, I might have to kick you off to Dan Rashbaum. And so, it's all, and he's like, I'm going to have to research the case law on this. I don't know if I can keep you on the trial. Yeah.
This is the same judge that was from Charlie's trial. Is that correct?
So he knows this case really well.
Same and judge. Was he also with Segfredo and Catherine McBanois and all that? No.
He was new into Charlie's trial. It's a very good judge.
Yeah. No,
so now we're at lunch break. Yeah. So now we're at lunch break and he's saying, I'm going to take this break. And they've released the jurors. I mean, they've probably brought in at least 100 or more jurors to go through to select this jury. I mean, this is the day of jury selection. So he's saying, okay, release the morning jurors, let them go. And then at lunch, what we were left with is he's going to go research this and decide really, like, is he firing Dan Rashbaum? Is he kicking him off the case? Or does he think that the waivers have all been satisfied? Because at that point, I think they're still saying that Charlie is waiving, is agreeing to waive. So, his representation. And so he's like, I need to talk to this person. I need this break to figure all this out. He called whoever he called and took the break and did that. So, we're on lunch break, but this is what I saw right before lunch. So Dan Rashbaum at that point is in this moment of he's thinking he has a very good chance of getting kicked off this case.
Yeah.
That he's been paid for, that he's been working on. He's called Donna his mother to, publicly and to privately to other people. So, he's invested. So you would think he would be quite stressed at the thought of being kicked off. I ran into him in the hallway, and that man apparently has an ACL problem, but he was like bounce, bounce, bounce like a little baby fawn. He was walking with this skip in his step, with this big smile on his face. He passed Joel, and he said something to Joel because they were passing in the restroom.
Yeah.
And we went to lunch, and Joel was like, I didn't expect that. He did not seem stressed at all. He seemed like a kid getting ready to go to Disneyland. No, he was very buoyant. And we both noticed it. I said, did you notice his demeanor? Like he was skippity-doo-dah-day, It just seemed odd. We both noticed it. Because I think Joel brought it up to me, and I'm like,
zippity-yay, my, oh my, what a wonderful day.
But the short version. The baby bear version.
The baby bear version, yeah.
So then we go to lunch, we come back, and we're all guessing, is the trial going to be canceled? Because obviously they got to cancel the trial if they kicked off Rashbaum, or is he going to take the risk and move forward? And the risk obviously are appeals issues of, they're obviously going to win the case and she's going to be convicted, but then boom, is it going to be like boomerang, come right back on appeal? So they got to protect that. So we're all talking about this, talking to other people, we come back from lunch. That woman approaches me, says what she says. I go into the courtroom, and immediately I notice that Donna is crying. Now, she was not like that in the morning. She was very, making a lot of notes and very serious and very involved. And she looked like a person preparing for her trial, sort of intense, but she wasn't, I don't think she knew, but the second I walked in, she's crying. And Daniel is looking like he's ready to burst with exuberance. So, and he's fawning all over her and talking to her, and they're all close. Collier, they're 8 feet in front of me. I'm front row seat to watching the two of them right in front of me where I was sitting. Him and Donna. So I'm trying to read lips, I did pick up a few things that he said to her. I got those on my notes from after, but basically he gets up and resigns. Basically says, with these, he's the first one out of the gate. He gets up and says, due to this conflict and that conflict, oh, shucks, I have no other option but to resign. I'm sitting here did you choreograph this whole thing for this moment right here? That's what it felt like to me.
Did she choreograph it? Not him.
No, did Daniel.
Oh, did Daniel?
Yeah, because.
But then she started crying, right?
She didn't know. She's just now finding out that he's abandoning her.
Uh-huh.
So that's why she's crying to me, because he's her savior and he's been Charlie's savior and she trusts him. And I think he told her over the lunch break that so I think she just found out. And so
you don't think that it was posturing to get her more time before she's sent to prison or any of that? Or if she, look, she's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I think a lot of us have very strong opinions on this, on this innocence claim. But technically this is the country we live in. This is how the system works. But do you think that this was some sort of maneuver to buy her more time?
That doesn't really serve her, though, because she wanted a speedy trial. This is a pretty fast court date, and she's trying to get out, not stay in, Yeah. And so that doesn't really make sense. And if you listen, you got to listen to these jail calls sometimes because she's very delusional. And she absolutely thought that Charlie was going to be acquitted, and she had a bag packed for him, and she was just devastated. She's saying, I had it all planned, Charlie. I'm going to come up and drive you home. And Daniel told me, no, he's going to drive you home. He was insistent, the two of them, that it's delusion. Charlie had no chance of an acquittal, none. But she really believed that he did. So I think she probably believed the same for herself, that she was going to get to court and get acquitted and go home. She probably had a cruise scheduled. Somebody said she had dinner reservations. It's
she had dinner reservations. Oy vey. I'll tell you what an odd situation. Also, let's not, lose sight of the tragedy that all of this is. And then you've got kids that are involved in this, and family is destroyed and lives destroyed. And this is something I always, not to get up on the soapbox and beat the drum, but that's what I talk about a lot is, more than anyone, how this stuff affects us and affects families, and not even having the peace and the, the stability of like, this is where it's going on. We put this one to bed. Okay, let's move on. Do you think it's a possibility now that, so where does it stand? I guess not to continue the story. Where are we?
Well, Rashbaum resigned. I mean, when I left the courtroom, Donna was sobbing. I mean, I said ugly crying. I mean, I saw it with my own eyes. I walked right past her, and it was like the full-blown ugly cry was happening. Because, she's realizing this is the last time she's going to see this man who's been her primary support system, because she's disconnected from all of her kids. Anyway, so how is
she's disconnected from? She's disconnected from Charlie, but does Wendi not go to see her in jail?
No, she doesn't. And my understanding, because my friend Susan from True Lifestyles monitors the phone calls, and I don't think there's been even any phone calls between the two of them for a year. So I think Wendi moved to Texas. So I think Wendi has abandoned her. It doesn't, but I have a theory. I think Wendy's going to come sniffing back around because she wants to keep Donna from turning on her. Donna has one card to play, and that's to turn on Wendi. And now a proper attorney would probably advise her that, do have some power here, but you'd have to turn on your daughter.
So maybe that ends up being a saving grace for her. Maybe she gets some sort of deal.
I think most defense attorneys at least like to explore that. And the prosecution definitely wants to get Wendi Adelson, and Donna is sitting there holding on a gold mine of information. She might say, I don't want to ruin Charlie's chances for appeal with that. But, she and Charlie were really ripping on Wendi in these jail calls. She's not a big fan of her daughter, and she's kind of realizing their daughter abandoned her. She's in her 70s. Does she want to live out her golden years in prison, or does she want to go for it? She's got one move, and it's a big move. So I think any good defense attorney would at least talk to her about that, that option.
One would imagine. I'm going to put a poll up. What should we make our poll? What do you think, Katie?
Will Donna try to cut a deal with the state?
Yeah, I like this. Try and cut a deal with the state. All right, poll is coming up. Oh, I got a super sticker. Maybe you got a super sticker. Yeah, I did not get a super sticker.
I don't do super stickers, so
thank you so much. Thank you so much. My father's alibi. That is amazing. That is the largest super sticker I've ever gotten. Thank you.
That's Allison Galvani, Collier. That's Allison Galvani.
Oh, thank you so much, Allison. Oh, Allison Galvani, who I need to talk to.
You know who I'm talking about.
As well. Welcome. We'll have you on next. No, we go. My God, Allison Galvani and I have quite a bit in common. Woo.
Yes, you do.
Well, all three of us in many ways.
Yeah, you guys specifically.
Oh, just a thing. I'll tell you. Yeah. Not a thing you want to be. All right, let's see what our poll is.
Yeah.
66 votes. We got no, yes. Ooh, this is a pretty tight race.
What is it? I don't think I can see it anywhere.
Well, you got to go to the YouTube. So a lot of people don't understand because I can't engage on the YouTube side because I'm not watching that. I'm doing the StreamYard thing, right? So then I have to go over there and see stuff. And I'm like, okay, here I can put a poll. I can do this. It's always a work in progress. They tell me that when people do YouTube lives that they really like to see the mistakes, and God knows I do it a lot. I'll mute myself and I'll be like, blah, blah, blah. I'll just go on this beautiful soliloquy and no one hears it. And they're like, you're muted. The people text me, you're muted. But of course the ringer's off on the phone. It's a debacle. But it's very funny because I'm like, oy vey, I'm muted because I say that a lot. And, and yeah, but, no, in all seriousness. So now I'm looking at the poll. So we're at 56-44. We got almost 100 votes. By the way, guys, please, if you are here, smash that like button. If you are on Katie's channel, smash that like button. give us some big likes. This helps with the channels, helps with the algorithm, helps with their shows, helps everyone to deliver great content, have great guests like Katie on the show. Boy, I feel like it was a really big week in true crime. But I do want to kind of finish up with where you think the Adelson case. So have they set a new trial date, or so this lawyer that was there in the courtroom, like the other guy, like who was he?
So she had two other guys there, but one was just consulted with her, like to be a non-involved party for like 30 minutes. But she's had this other one that they brought in months ago, Alex Morris. He's a local Tallahassee lawyer, blah, blah, blah. He actually seems quite legit to me, unlike Rashbaum. I call him the consigliere. This guy seems like a proper defense attorney, that I'm used to. And he did a press conference. Well, first of all, Georgia Kappelman, after Rashbaum resigned, she stood up and said, well, I'd like to proceed with the trial if Mr. Morris feels like he can take over the lead of this. And he said he wasn't up to speed enough, that he would need more time, which makes sense. That's legit. And so the judge was like, then we got to pull the plug on this thing. But he also said, I love this. He said, I want you to get me a list of expenses for what led to this continuance. And from what I understand, that's also going to be Charlie's travel expenses. And I think they flew him there. It'd be like over $20,000. And all that, witness expenses, travel expenses, juror expenses, all of that is dumping on Donna. That's all dumping on Donna. So careful. So Rashbaum's walking away with her money and she's getting stuck with yet another bill because of his maneuvering. Yeah. I mean,
but you said you were really aggravated with him and he's a POS, but in a lot of ways, do you blame the guy
for wanting to get out from under it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a terrible case, but he has behaved terribly. It's a bad case, bad facts, but you can still, most defense lawyers have bad fact cases because it's not easy to get, as you know, it's not easy to get an obviously really guilty.
Look at what a career that Mark Geragos has made out of
Mark Geragos is good. Yeah, he's good.
He's a great lawyer, but he does represent some people that you're like, it's a little bit of a head scratcher,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, I think Daniel probably wanted to get out of it more because his own brand was quickly sinking, but it's his own behavior. This man, Collier, went on STS after Charlie's conviction and starts demeaning all the podcasters, all the YouTubers, and with this slimy attitude, and called his defense effective. I'm like, what are you talking about? You got a 3-hour guilty verdict on your client. How could you call it effective? But where he lost me was he started talking about Dan Markel. And he started saying that even Dan Markel would agree with my representation. That was it. Wow. The flip switched for me. Or the switch flipped.
I was beyond the pale. A little bit.
Way inappropriate and so beyond tacky's not even a good word. Like, how dare you? And even if that was true, even on some intellectual scholarly level, if Dan Markel would say, yeah, that's probably a good way to go about that defense, he's actually saying that the murder victim who was shot in the face is going to get behind him representing the people who shot him in the face, who killed him. It's like, you're not a good person. I realize that is so beyond, it's gratuitous, it's mean-spirited. It just revealed something to me about him and it's been all downhill. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's interesting you talk about, and I love how some of these lawyers go about blaming. Look, I have a very mixed bag with true crime and discussions about it, and I feel like it's a space that a lot of people jump into for very grifter style reasons and don't really have a real connection. And that's why I try to offer. And of course, those are the shows that do the biggest because they have no connection. So it's like they're the ones making all the money. But it's like when it comes to the real voices of the victims, myself, you, I'm sorry, now her name is escaping me. Our wonderful, generous
Allison
Allison
Galvani.
Allison Galvani. I'm like, use your words, Claudia. Like I said, hey, this ain't working very good, so this isn't working very good either.
You're doing great.
So the people who have this personal connection, I feel like I would much rather listen to have explain true crime to me. So I always have this very mixed bag, but I do find it very ironic or funny because it's like they're using the excuse, and you could this is new media, right? The media, it's the media who's doing this. It's their fault. It's the media paints this picture of my client. The media does this. The jurors in the courtroom don't see that media. And that's what we tend to really forget. They're not supposed to, whether they're not, they do, but there's so many people that are so opinionated, and they're like, well, they have access to this. They've seen this. That's not how the system works. The system works is that they sit in that courtroom, they listen to the evidence, they make their notes. Sometimes they get callback or whatever it's called, where they can recall witnesses when they're in deliberations and testimony, and that's it. And that's what they base their decision on, not because somebody made a TikTok video, not because somebody is on YouTube talking about it. At least that's how it's supposed to work, and we got to go with how the system is supposed to work, because then if that's not the case, then, whatever. Then none of this is it's all a moot point, right? That's a bridge too far for me. But I do think, but what do you think about him just trying to blame that on people like us?
You mean Rashbaum?
Yeah.
Like when he did on STS?
Yeah.
I think he's doing a lot of deflecting, and I think that's exactly what the Adelsons do. And I think he's kind of like part of their world now and an extended family member. Like he's thinking like them, he's maneuvering like them.
Yeah, you called him a consigliere. How long has he been involved with the family for? He's like a real estate attorney, right? Or a finance attorney?
He's a white-collar crime attorney. So, I mean, he doesn't do... And it's very obvious.
Well, maybe he shuffles things around for them. You never know.
Well, my husband's thought about this is that why they selected him. I mean, he's a loser. He lost spectacularly, and very expensive lawyer to lose like that for Charlie. And why they, retread him again is that my husband says he knows where all their financial bodies are buried. Because he's been clearly doing sneaky, underhanded things with them. Because the other thing that came out that was so telling is, I think Tim Jansen said this, the irony that on the hot mic call, she's referencing him advising her to get to the airport. And one of the main things that's going to convict Donna Adelson is that she tried to flee. But Dan Rashbaum advised her about that. So, and now because he's not her attorney, I would imagine he can be called as a witness on that issue.
Ah, that's a good point.
Yeah, which I would love to see him have to go and speak to that in court under oath. What did he say to her and what advice did he give her? Shady. He's a shady guy. I mean, that's a consigliere. He's going to be trying to help you skirt and get out of the country before they catch you. And that's what he was doing.
Go to Vietnam. They won't find you there.
Mm-hmm.
Oy vey, what a mess.
Okay, Jared Ross said, yes, he can. Thank you, Jared.
Oh, Jared. Awesome.
Good.
Thank you. See, this is why we need like real legal experts on here.
I know. And Jared is perfect. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Jared. That's interesting. Okay. So, when is her retrial supposed to start or what are we calling it? A retrial? Or are we calling her original trial? So they have no start date, I'd imagine.
No, because the only thing is that there is an interview out there of this second chair guy, Alex Morris, is now elevated to lead counsel.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of people wondering if he's going to stay on. He did say that they're going to get additional local, not Miami, local counsel. But those people have to get up to speed from square zero. He's been working on it for a while, but now they have to come in from the beginning. So they need to get all up to speed. And a lot of people think that he might jump ship once and then turn it over to somebody else, which would be smart for him to do because he's tainted now. I mean, because he was with Rashbaum, who was clearly tainted. So, I mean, the best thing is just to give her a fresh start. He gave a very classy, I thought it was a classy interview. I have no qualms with him whatsoever. I think he's doing an appropriate job, and he's saying, I'm your lead counsel. So October 15th is the next case management meeting, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he didn't pass the torch. And he has an easy way out, saying, you know, I don't want there to be any question about my conflict. And I was involved in this conflictual situation for however many months. And so we're going to give her a clean start with the law offices of, you know, go and F yourself.
Go F yourself.
Waiting for Godana.
Waiting for Godana. You know, you heard it here first. Waiting for Godana. It's all you.
You get the credit for that. Waiting for Godana.
I do have my moments, Katie. I do have my moments for sure. I
think you are a moment.
I am a moment.
The moment. You're the moment.
I love that. Guys, you heard it here first. Mover Nation. I am a moment.
The moment.
The moment. Wow. Yeah, so this will never end, and this is one of those things. It reminds me a little bit, you know, in an opposite way of the Karen Reed trial. You know, just with so many conflicts of interest. I mean, I don't know if you follow that case or not. That's just a whole.
I didn't really closely follow that case.
It's a mess.
I know
it's a mess too. It's a mess.
I just know that I had to shut down any conversation on my channel because as soon as people started talking about it, they immediately started fighting.
Very opinionated.
I've never seen anything quite.
I try to be very middle of the road. Look, I am the son of both a perpetrator and a victim, and his victim. So I see things in a very pragmatic and level-headed way when it comes to the legal system. That's why people, I think, listen to what I have to say, because, you know, you've got the flip side, and I feel like you definitely have. Caleb's Catskill says Collier is definitely a moment. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
We're starting a new thing. Hashtag the moment.
Hashtag the moment. I love this. Hashtag the moment, guys. You know, so for me, it's in that particular trial, because I see it, you know, from John O'Keefe's family's perspective. I see it from Karen Reed and her family's perspective. I see it from the prosecution's perspective, which is the most difficult of perspectives that I see. And I see it from the defense's perspective and their tactics outside the trial to really weaponize things like social media and the media, which is fair game, by the way, to do. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is there was a lot of protesters and a lot of people outside the courthouse on both sides, signs, the whole thing, T-shirts, this, that, a lot of virtue signaling going on both sides of the coin on that. However, what was outside the courthouse like for Donna's, you know, what we thought was the start of her trial? Was there a flood of people there? Were there protesters? Were there supporters of the Markels and even supporters of the Adelsons? I mean, there might only been two, but.
Well, it hadn't even started yet, because this all blew up the first day of jury selection. And a lot of people weren't going to show up until the first day of the trial. So that was going to be like tomorrow. So, I mean, Ruth Markel hadn't even gotten on a plane yet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because she could,
yeah.
You know,
thank God she didn't make
I'm on the phone with
Toronto.
her, and she's like, I got to hang up right now because I got to cancel stuff. So, you know, she had to cancel everything. And anyway, so, yeah. So, but I think there were going to be more. Through Charlie's trial, there was not one person that I know of that was in the courtroom in support of Charlie. And I have never seen something this extremely lopsided as this case. Because, you know, I've debated a lot of cases on court TV. I went to Scott Peterson, I went to Jodi Arias, and you see a lot of people on both sides, you know, supporting the defendant. Zero. I mean, even the family didn't show up for Charlie. None of the family showed up for Charlie. And I was curious to see if Harvey was going to show up for Donna. I was thinking he was, but that was a piece of the puzzle too. Why was Charlie not there, you know, yesterday? You know, was he alerted not to come because this was all going to blow up? I mean, I don't know, but he wasn't there. I don't know. It blew up before it started. So
nobody was even setting up tents or anything. There was no Occupy.
No, it's a very chill environment. And so, I mean, the most dramatic thing I saw was the Court TV van on the street.
Okay.
And it was just barely getting things set up. But, there was a lot of room in the courtroom. There was not lines forming or anything. I mean, there were
Interesting.
totally empty benches. And
well, I want to say, as a cinematographer and a former local 600 member, Cinematographers Guild, I hope those cameramen that got called out to the job got a full day's rate while they were setting up that gear to go film for Court TV. They better not have gotten that half day. They better got
Law
that
and Crime
full
was
day.
there. I saw them. Yeah. And I don't know. Some of them might have been waiting to come in. Like I said, I mean, they might have just by the hair of their chinny chin chin missed it. Might have been traveling like the next day, to get there. So, like Ruth did. She missed it by really, literally the number of hours.
And there your Airbnb, but you're enjoying it because at least you're in a nice place. At least you didn't like travel to, I don't know, Oklahoma. Nothing against Oklahoma, but you're from Pennsylvania. I'm from that same area, being Ohio. We love going south where weather is warmer, where there's palm trees and sunshine.
Yeah, I love Tallahassee. It's a very cool town. I mean, I'm just, it's obviously the Adelsons hated it, but I got off the highway and I was like, oh, I love this place. But I grew up in a small university town. I live in a small university town. Like, this is a vibe that's comfortable to me. But what I decided to do, it hit me yesterday, like, okay, I don't want to bail on this. I prepaid this place, like I'll stay here for a while. Then I realized I need to finish my freaking book. So I'm going to use this as a writing retreat, and I'm going to work on my book and make it purposeful, and watch Collier Landry's movie and create an event around that. And
I love that so much. I love that so much.
It's so organic how that started.
It is very organic how that started, and I loved it. You texted me as I was walking into the gym, and I was like, I can't do it right now, but I can do. And you're like, no, I don't mean it right now.
I meant to say, I'm just going to watch it right now.
I'm a mess. It doesn't matter. I'm a mess. There's so much going on in my life. But some good, some wonderful, some not so good. But okay, I just want to shift gears real fast because getting your perspective, your unique perspective on true crime. There's another domino, a massive domino that fell this week, Monday night. Diddy was arrested in New York City and indicted. And now, yesterday, they could not get him. They had a bond hearing. Nope. And this morning they had another bond hearing. Nope. He's going to stay right where he is in the Brooklyn Detention Center, which is a good thing. I have a friend who works for Department of Homeland Security. His office was handling it. He was giving me a little bit of the details a couple of months ago. He's like, oh, yeah, it's happening any day. Like, it's the feds have nothing but money and time on their hands. But what were your thoughts about that when you heard that news come down?
I really haven't followed much of it at all, but Joel told me. I was sitting right next to Joel wherever we were. And I guess at lunch, and he told me about that and just gave me the absolute bare bones. But I mean, I trust him and Steve. They were saying he's probably going to go to prison the rest of his life.
Oh, yeah. His goose is cooked. I mean, this is, I've worked in entertainment for a long time. I've heard these stories all the time of things going on. I'm not involved in any of those shenanigans, but I've heard the stories and I'm like, I mean, look, every dog has his day and every asshole has their day too. And he'll, for the victims the people that he victimized, it's a great day for them. I mean, it's a horrific day. It's horrific what they had to go through, but at least to see the wheels of justice and at least to see them saying, no, we're not letting you out of jail. We don't care how much money you have, a $50 million bond. No, we don't care. We don't care.
What are the charges? What the
racketeering, RICO, racketeering, sex trafficking. They're the bad ones, the really, really bad ones that they know that they can.
Federal.
Oh, they're federal. Yeah.
Do you know what jail he's in?
I think he's in the Brooklyn Detention Center. Not Rikers.
Okay. You know what? I have a little connection to that. My next door neighbor, who I share a wall with at my home back in Pennsylvania, she used to be the warden of that jail.
No.
I have heard so many stories. John Gotti was in there when she was the warden. She's somebody I'm like, please let me write your biography. She was one of the first female prison wardens in the federal system, and she's been all over the country. But that was one of her last gigs, was that jail. The one where Epstein died in. The one where Keith Raniere was in. Yeah. Oh, yeah,
good old Keith Raniere, who got 143 years or whatever he got.
Did you follow that case?
A little bit. I interviewed Mark Vicente for another podcast. He talks a lot about that. He was involved with, he was involved in NXIVM. And I remember people coming to my house. It's I was living in Hollywood Hills. The girlfriend of mine, it was like 2007, I want to say. They were talking about this NXIVM thing, and you should join this in self-discovery. And Mark had done a film called What the Bleep Do We Know, and that was really hot at the time. And then another film came out called The Secret, and I worked with the producers of What the Bleep Do We Know. I did another show with them, and this is like a super small world, but I remember just hearing about NXIVM and from my Hollywood friends, be like, "Oh, you got to check this out." And I was like, remember looking at my girlfriend at the time, I'm like, sounds a little weird. It's a little too weird for us.
Good radar.
Yeah. Sometimes I have good radar. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm really proactive at avoiding dumpster fires. I've got a good thing, but as I like to say, it's not a dumpster fire if you're the one holding the match. There you have it.
That's a good life skill, though, to have that,
Very true. Very true. Well, Katie, I know you got to get on Surviving the Survivor here.
I do in 5 minutes. I'm supposed to be over there. Oh my God, I lost total track of time. I need to jump
because that's what you can do when you're stuck in the moment.
I'm in the moment. Let me just bask in the moment for a moment.
Bask in the moment. I'm
basking in the moment. I love your shine, Collier. I really do. Even if you're having a bad day, you still shine and sparkle.
I gotta shine. It's all I can ever do. A lot of people
You've been doing it your whole life.
I've been doing it my whole life. A lot of people ask me, like, how do you do that? Can you bottle that? If I could bottle it and sell it, I'd be a billionaire, and I'd probably give all the way to charity. But I'll tell you, it is something you gotta. It takes a lot of work and a lot of grit and a lot of determination. I know you know what I'm talking about because you've been through it too.
Yeah, I appreciate being in the presence of your shine and your radiance. It affects me. It really does.
Well, thank you so much. I look forward to bringing my moment and my radiance and shine to your channel next week as we review A Murder in Mansfield and all that stuff. We can probably play some clips too, especially if we do it this way where we're on the Streamyard and you share the link. I can probably pull up some stuff, or at least some stills.
Well, we'll talk, and just as soon as you get me a date, guys, I will list the date, and then you can get the movie. In the meantime, get the movie and watch it. And then I'll let you know.
Absolutely. On my channel, you can purchase it right here. Give me a second. It doesn't automatically send an email. I got to manually do it. So if I'm asleep, you won't get it straight away. I'm sorry. But if I'm
all right, I got 3 minutes to get over to STS.
Thank you so much, Katie Kool-Lady. I greatly appreciate you being here. Thank you for the update and for the inside info. Have a wonderful day. Have fun. See you soon. All right. See you soon. Bye. Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you guys so much. So she's going to go over to Surviving the Survivor here in about 7 minutes. If you have checked out Surviving the Survivor, friend of the show, friend of the channel, Joel Waldman hosts with his mother Carm, and he has wonderful guests just like Katie Kool-Lady on the show. Tim Jansen, I'm sure, is going to be speaking about it as well, about the Donna Adelson push of her trial. I don't know, we even know what to call it. Trial delayed. I don't know. Her trial being delayed. Mover Nation, hey, we get through another one. I'm going to shut it down a little early. Let's go to our poll here. We have 256 votes. It looks like it's a dead heat. It's like the Preakness. 256 votes. We've got, yes, Donna will try to cut a deal with the state. 56% says no. And Black Widow, I forgot to give you a shout out. Thank you so much for the gifted memberships. I greatly appreciate it. Guys, if you haven't been able to take advantage of that, please go click, do the gifted membership, accept the gifted membership, join the channel. In a week from Sunday, so 10 days-ish from now, I do my live channel meet and greets where we all get to meet, interact. We do it via Google Meet, where we can all talk to one another just like I'm doing here, but everybody gets to see everybody's faces. We did it through Google Meet. I do that once a month, last Sunday of the month, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time, right before our Sunday lives, which we're probably bringing back, if not this weekend, next weekend. So yeah, kind of like that. Mover Nation. I thank you guys so much for being here and for showing up in such numbers today. I really appreciate all of you. I probably don't say that enough. Maybe I do. I don't know. But times like this when I'm like, going through some stuff, I appreciate all your support here. And you guys make it all worth it. So lots of new videos coming out. We're doing a whole revamp of the channel. I am going to be on Soft White Underbelly on September 28th. That's a Saturday. That is my mother's birthday. So in honor of my mother, going on Soft White Underbelly. If you're a fan of that channel, please check it out. I will, of course, be posting about it. And I want to say thank you all so much for being here. It's amazing. And Mover Nation, hey, as I always say, we get through another one. And on that note, here's the outro. Mover Nation, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to all my channel members and Patreon supporters. And for more exclusive content, behind the scenes videos, monthly VIP meet and greets and watch parties, please consider supporting me on Patreon or by becoming a YouTube channel member. If you like this video, check out this one right here or this one right here. And don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps with the algorithm. On that note, I'm Collier Landry. I'll see you on the next one. Good girl, Marisol. Good girl.